And welcome to Marketing Adventures with Carmel. If you're watching this on social media, remember to give us a like and a thumbs up and ask us any questions as well that you would like to know. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button and the little bell so you'll be alerted as we bring you some amazing people that we interview and at times some tips, tricks, and insights all about marketing and how you can use it and specifically use video within it to market your business. So all areas of helping you to market your business is what we're bringing you to. But we're also bringing you some amazing and inspiring real business builders and exceptional entrepreneurs that have been just like you at some stage, and they can offer some insights into how they've got over things and their particular skill so that it can help you to grow your business. They have some gold to share. So remember, if you're watching on social media, give us those thumbs up and comments. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe. But for now, I'm going to introduce my amazing guest, but I can't pronounce her name properly. So I'm going to say Chloe.
Yes.
But if you can pronounce your name properly for me.
Yeah, so it's Clotilde Bouaoud. Yeah, I know it's a tricky one.
Yes, it is, Clotilde. Okay, it's a beautiful name and it rolls off the tongue. So we're talking today about the 6 habits to achieve high performance for entrepreneurs. But before we do that, I'm actually going to introduce Clotilde properly, because Clotilde is a certified high performance coach who works with international excellence driven entrepreneurs and leaders who are committed to have a positive impact. So she's ditched her 10-year career in corporate, although you don't look to have old enough to have had a 10-year in corporate, after periods of burnout and sleep disengagement. And we're going to talk a little bit about that burnout because it's a hot topic while we're talking about this. So in favor of finding her own way towards more purpose, more personal freedom, and more contribution. So on her way to that, she's discovered the concept of high performance. So being able to really achieve, and we all know as entrepreneurs, I'm a recovering workaholic myself, is how I describe myself, but we want that high performance. And it was developed by Brendon Burchard, and she fell deep into, as she calls it, the rabbit hole. So now she helps entrepreneurs and leaders operate on that higher level of clarity, courage, influence, and energy. And productivity. Who doesn't want more productivity without depleting all your energy, so that you can have a more balanced and enjoyable life? So I'm looking forward to getting into this today. So welcome.
Thank you, Carmel. Looking forward to share as well today a bit of my story. And as you say, as entrepreneur, we need to achieve, but sometimes, we need some help to do it in a proper way where we can, make it sustainable and enjoyable. So I'm looking forward to share that with you.
1,000,000%. So tell us where in the world you are, because these interviews are amazing with people all over the world. Where are you at the moment?
I just moved to Oxford last week, actually. So I'm in the UK at the moment. But just to give you the background, I used to be French in another life. And then I've been living in 6 different countries in Europe. So I'm kind of a serial expatriate mix from different places. So
you still sound very French. You're like me. I still have my Irish accent. You still have your French.
Yes, it sticks there. But at least people can think already where I'm coming from. So it always helps.
Beautiful. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about you and how you've come to do what you're doing now. Like, give us a bit of an insight into a bit of your journey and what was that hiccup or that wake-up call that got you out of corporate and doing what you're doing right now.
So as you were mentioning in the introduction, it took me kind of 10 years to get there. So it was a long journey towards finding more purpose. And initially, I have a background in science. So I did a PhD in chemistry. Okay. And during this PhD, actually, I had the first burnout, mostly because I was kind of realizing already, you know what, I'm working super hard, but what I do doesn't matter. I don't really like it. There was no purpose happening then. And, when things are not working, usually I do a little bit of let's push through, let's fight, let's just go through it and try to do more and see if I can re-engage. And unfortunately, it led me to having a burnout there. So it was the first already wake-up call about, okay, deep science isn't going to be my thing for my entire life. And then I move on to a career in as a scientist still in the flavor and fragrance industry. And after 2 years, I was in the same situation. I was, okay, the work is a bit more interesting because it was more with consumers. There was more, straight impact, let's say. But I was still burning out, working very long hours and really not feeling connected.
When you say burnout, just apologies for interrupting you. Tell us how that impacted, because, the word burnout is quite often bandied around, and it's like, well, what is burnout? So how was that impacting you when you say burnout?
For me, during the PhD was really just being completely disengaged, going more towards depression, I would say, and being very kind of isolating myself a lot. And physically also, kind of losing complete shape, losing a lot of energy. I tended to cry at some point as well. My body was like, you're not listening to me, so I'm going to start crying in front of random people every single day until you feel kind of, that you're like, oh, I'm crying. Maybe I should go and process some of the burden there. So it was, for me, it was really a mix of physical and emotional particularly. And, it was a full disengagement of, I don't know what else I'm going to do. There was like, I could not see further in the future, and this was really something I really struggled to find an answer. So with the isolation and all of it, it was really.
And that's what I think it's so different for so many people, and that's why I asked you, because the word burnout is just thrown out. Oh, I had burnout. It's like, well, how was that impacting you? So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. So after 2 years in the corporate world afterwards, I was going in the same direction. So this time I was like, okay, I'm going to listen a bit earlier. So I decided to quit my job and say I'm going to take just 6 months for myself to recover and kind of do something for myself, do some bit of self-care. And I was already in the idea of, I want to do something more purposeful for work. And I was already thinking about entrepreneurship, but unfortunately I did not get a miracle idea during this time. So after I was refreshed, I went back to the corporate world in flavors and fragrances, this time switching towards more sales and marketing, because I thought, okay, I want to switch. I want to test different things and see if I can find more purpose or more engagement in what I do. And I was doing a training program to become account managers in sales. And that also made me realize, you know what, there is still something missing there. I was, again, not really engaged, or things were too easy. I was not really connecting with that, and particularly not able to see myself do this in the future. It's like, I'm finishing this training, then I'm going to need at least 3-4 years to be a good account manager. It's like, I cannot see this time happening. I'm not enthusiastic about it. So what can I do? And my brain was already thinking that, but I was not listening. So I got a couple of triggers to help me. As we do. You need a trigger.
Yeah.
And this trigger came from a couple of different sources. I had a very, very poor manager in one of the departments I was working for at the beginning of COVID, actually, who really treated me like if I was a 2-year-old person. Literally, for instance, telling me what type of paper I was allowed to write on when I was taking notes, that type of very, basic level. And that's not the quality of people I want to work around. I can do more than that. I was also thinking, okay, I'm going to switch companies and starting to have interviews to think, okay, maybe I can find a better company still. And one of the interviewers told me, when he was asking me about my biggest achievements in life, all the answers I gave him were around life, hobbies, things that had no relationship with work. And he basically told me, your work right now is not something helping you achieve. I was like, okay, thanks for this feedback. I think it's true. So now what else can I do? And I think for me, COVID was really actually good in a way, because there were so many trainings happening online, so much personal development, so much people going out there and giving value for free that you could attend a lot of different trainings. And I ran into one from Tony Robbins, which helped me from a life perspective to just, rethink about my entire life. And I also ran into one about coaching, virtual coaching. And I was like, okay, it's personal development. I like it. And then I just, listened to all the coaches talking, and I was like, they're living my life. That's what I want to do. The way they talk about people, the way they are committed to serve, this is what I want to do. So I went in this direction. And as I was looking for what type of coaching do I want to do, I also ran into Brendon Burchard, which you mentioned in the introduction. And he talks about high performance, which is just how you can be successful, but successful on the long term, not burning out, not getting stuck in frustration, not getting stuck in fears and doubts. and really giving you like practical things that you can implement. And I was like, that's also the type of life I want. I was at the stage where this is the life I want. I want this high performance life. And if I can also help people do that, perfect. That makes absolute sense. So that's how I tumbled into that. And as you say, I went down into the rabbit hole for myself to help myself build this life back. But also, you know, once you start applying and helping people do that, it's just, you're like, I can help other people who have also this service-driven mindset, this big heart, go and do the change they want to do and have the impact they want to have and do it in a way that is long-term. It's like, that's my mission.
It's a huge personal development yourself as well. To learn, you know, coaching, personal development, whatever, because I did coaching many years ago. But what it was for me was the biggest personal development thing I had ever done. And it's confronting at times and it's different at times. But then building a business out of that is a whole different kettle of fish. It's okay to go and do the training and do coach training and say, yes, I remember thinking, this is what I'm going to do about the rest of my life. But I actually couldn't market the business. I just couldn't. So I ended up that I was just in and out of a job and in and out of a job. Because I wanted to do so much, and that workaholic in me will try and be so productive, but I just semi-burn out all the time and back and forth. And I couldn't language what it was I helped people with in a way that they could understand it. Have you found that?
Well, the burnout part, yes. This is something I am still doing, and I'm very mindful about that, because, you know, obviously you go out, I went out of corporate, I'm like, let's do the same thing that in corporate. And that's something, like, you know, not necessarily thinking about it, but unconsciously, you know, you work still longer hours. And, you know, particularly I think at the beginning when the momentum is not necessarily there, when, as you say, sometimes clients are not coming as fast as you want, you might think I need to push through and I need to do even more, and you keep rolling, and it gets very, you know, tricky to even stop. Or sometimes it's just like we are afraid of stopping because we think, oh, if I stop, the business is going to go down. And I'm still learning on that. I'm still learning and making sure that I take more breaks, that I plan my days better, that I take care of my energy. So it's something that I know is sneaking back from time to time. So I just need to be very mindful.
Well, it's like I often liken any habit that we have, it's like a well-worn bicycle path. And it's like you have to kind of get the bike to go on the grass for a while, and it gets a bit wockety. It's never perfect. And sometimes it's easier to go back on that one because they're the neural pathways that we do develop in our brain. So the mind is inherently lazy. You know, it'll take the shortcut to whatever the answer is if it can. Otherwise, we go crazy. There's 4 or 5 million bits of information hitting us every few minutes. But so it's really important not to be hard on ourselves if we don't get that new habit. And people look at breaking a habit. But to me, it's like, I don't need to break it. I just need to make a new one. And that'll become obsolete on its own. So, so it's worn out. So tell us about these 6 habits to achieve that high performance, because I'm really intrigued. I'm always trying to get more done in less time, but to make sure, and which is a really serious point, that we don't get to the stage that we overwork ourselves. And look, I've sent emails and I've done videos on it, because I'm sure at the end of last year, that's where I was. In that kind of I can't continue doing this at this rate, or I'm going to just be in a heap somewhere. So tell us what those habits are, and we'll dig into them a little bit.
Okay, so I'm just going to give you the 6 habits first, and just to give a bit of background. So this is coming from the work of Brendon Burchard, and they've done some research on that. So it's not just habits that they created, it's really something that has been validated scientifically when they talked to high performers, and they really went deep into, okay, what do you do daily? What is intentional? What are actually the things you actually do? So they identified 6 that are really the ones that if you put your focus on are going to give you a result long term. The first one is seeking clarity. So this is really about being as clear, intentional on every single aspect of your life, yourself, your business,
so
whatever.
We're going to do the 6 of them first, and then we'll chat about it, or are we talking?
We can go in one by one if you want.
No, that's okay. If you want to do the 6 of them, and then we'll go back and we'll dig a bit deeper into each one. Is that okay?
Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to give you a short line then. So the first one is seeking clarity and being clear about who you are, what you want to do, your interactions, your future, everything basically.
Right.
The second habit is what we were just talking about. It's about generating energy. So this is really about managing your energy in a way that that you actually can sustain the work on the long term, and make sure that it helps you. Your energy is serving you to do things and not you using your energy. Then we have raising necessity, which is basically how to put the right level of motivation on yourself. So not too much pressure that you feel absolutely stressed, but not too low as well that you don't feel demotivated. So this is finding the right balance of kind of self-accountability, let's say, and motivation. Habit number 4 is increasing productivity, because that we know if we don't deliver anything in the business, things don't happen. And obviously you want to deliver the right things with the right quality in the right time, and do it in a way that you feel that you are productive as well. Habit number 5 is about developing influence. So this is really about making sure that your people skills are at the level that you need to actually serve yourself, your business, whether it's, persuasion, marketing, sales, or even just getting support from people around you sometimes. And habit number 6 is about demonstrating courage, which is one that I actually love, which is about making sure that you are, recognizing your own courage, and that you are constantly challenging yourself to grow and be uncomfortable, but do it in a way on a daily basis, which sometimes we don't do. Sometimes we just do the big bold stuff at some point, and then we forget about it.
Yeah, we go, ta-da! They
yeah.
go, what did I do that for?
Exactly. So these are the 6, basically the 6 areas of clarity, energy, necessity, productivity, influence, and courage. That's if you think about all these different aspects and you have habits in all these different categories, you can really move forward in a fast way.
So I've written those down so that I could come back to them. But tell us then, so let's go into kind of some real life examples of how they can be, because it's a bit like the word burnout. We intellectually have an understanding of what it means. But quite often the person goes away thinking burnout is this, and you were trying to talk to them about burnout being this, and the message is somehow lost. So let's talk about number 1, clarity. You're saying, be clear on every area. Well, how do you do that?
So you ask yourself questions often, every day, and a lot. Clarity is one of the foundation for everything, because if you are not clear, you cannot be intentional, you cannot be confident, you cannot, know what is the productive work to do, etc. So clarity is one thing that really with clients, I'm like, okay, I need to get clear there. And it's really about asking yourself as much question as you can on a regular basis, that sometimes we don't do. Sometimes we get lost in the process of getting the work done, and days pass by, and then we are like, I'm not really aware of what's going on in my life. And someday we get a wake-up call, or we get, actually there's something missing there. So this is really, I'd say, the biggest tip here is asking yourself as much questions as possible, or getting around people who can actually ask you questions or make you think about different aspects.
So what kind of questions? So again, as coaches, we've learned to ask some very powerful questions. But like for me, the how question is quite often rather than why. Why implies judgment, and can quite often, you got to be aware of your inner critic in these and go, why are you doing that, you stupid woman, blah, blah, blah. Rather than, okay, that didn't get me the actual result I wanted. So how can I do this better? Or how can I do this differently? Are those the kind of questions you mean?
Yeah, so usually how, what, and who are the best questions to ask. The why, as you mentioned, is a bit judgmental. So I only use them for motivation when you want to dig in about, real deep emotions and stuff. The why is really helpful. But other than that, is like, okay, what's missing there? How did I feel this week? Who can help me? Who do I need to show up for because they count on me? What is one thing that I know is going to be maybe an issue for me today that I should anticipate and prepare myself for? What is one courageous thing I want to do today? So it's like this type of questions of really making sure that you are aware of all the elements of who you are. And very importantly also, it's not just about business, it's also about you as an individual. Because I find sometimes we think about all the things we need to do, but thinking about ourselves is very important. So one of the questions, actually, one of the best tips I can give there that I always do with clients is getting them to define words for themselves. Like, who are you? What are the best version of you? If you have to pick 3 words that are really you, that you want to say, okay, every day I'm going to behave like this, and I'm going to okay, this is who I am, this is how I want to show up every day. This is also a great question. So who are you in 3 words? And how you can.
Wow. Yeah. So that's a good tip. Who are you in 3 words? Because, you know, as you're saying it, I'm thinking you could get lost for an hour and really go, who am I? Who do I want to be? What do I want to give somebody today? So it's not about getting yourself into more having to do things. It's, I would say, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's writing down 3 to 5 key questions that you ask yourself on a regular basis.
Yeah. The one that you know, particularly, you know, if you have patterns, like, you know, for instance, for me, energy is one. So I know every week and every day I'm also going to do, okay, how did I feel energetically today? Because it helps me track where I am. So particularly the one where, you know, you are, you know, habits can sneak their way back in. Always make sure that you're aware of them. And also if you say, okay, I want to, you know, this year, my goal is to be more courageous. Then there should also be a question there that you think, okay, how can I get myself to there? So yeah, you can build your own set of questions and constantly look at them.
And it's been really clear, I would guess as well, on knowing what you want to achieve, so that, you know, you can ask yourself those questions. I like to ask myself, for example, did that get me the outcome I wanted? And if it didn't, what do I need to change to get that outcome? Because, like, as you say, it's a business outcome or a personal outcome or whatever. So it does change. So be really clear on what it is you want. You know, we might go for a swim and say, for me, even though I live in a hot country, I still hate getting into cold water. I hate it. So sometimes my only outcome is to get in and submerge myself in the water. And it's like, did I put my toe in or did I put the whole thing in? So awesome. So number 2, sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, no, I just want to say this is very important. What you mentioned here is like intentionality. It's like when you go in a situation, know what you want to get out. And it can also work with, if I have a meeting with a client, okay, I'm showing up this way and this is what I want to get out of it. This type of clarity as well really helps you navigate.
I love you brought that up, because it's just reminded me that I've had many, as I'm sure you have, corporate meetings, all sorts of everything. But when I learned over the years to go in mind what I wanted the outcome to be, it didn't matter who was good, bad, right, or wrong in the meeting. And they said, oh, no, you said this, you said that. It's like, no, did I come out with the outcome I wanted? The answer is yes. I don't really care how I got it.
And it's because you basically you say to your brain, okay, this is what we want from this meeting, and then you can measure yourself against. Sometimes we just go in things without intentionality, and we are like, the brain is like, okay, what's happening there? I don't know. But if you say this is the target, this is the measure, then you can be satisfied or not at the end, and you know what else to do next if you're not satisfied. But it really helps your brain engage more.
Yeah, it does, because it's like going on a plane or a bus. You know, you don't just get on a bus and go wherever. You get on a bus. For example, I'm in Australia, in Perth. I might get on a bus to go to Melbourne. Well, the bus might go like this all the way around, but I know I'm getting to Melbourne. So when you have a clear intention of what it is you want to achieve in a day, in a meeting, for 3 months, whatever it is, you might go this way, but at least you know where you're heading. So I think it's very beneficial. So number 2 is generating energy. I'm really dying to hear this one because, oh my God. Tell me more.
Yeah, so generating energy is all about making sure that you are not doing what most people do, which is to have energy and then they go down until it's holidays time, and then they go up again. This is usually what we see with energy. And here is really about thinking, first of all, energy long term. So that means having a mindset of, my energy is something I really need to manage, and I need to have a plan for it, and I need to be intentional there. And I'm talking energy, big word. So physical energy, emotional energy, so how you feel, positively, and also mental energy. So that could be your focus, for instance. And something that is a big shift versus what we hear in energy is that you don't have energy or you don't lose it. You need to go create it yourself by having this intention and having this plan around it. So there are different aspects of energy. The obvious one is, take care of your health and, drink water, do exercise, this type of things. We hear them all the time. But one that I see not happening actually with clients is more the recharging time. So it's more how every day you're going to lose some energy. That's part of the process. You do some work, you lose energy. So how can you every day recharge yourself to make sure that you put your battery back at the highest level possible? And I always ask clients, what do you do daily? What do you do weekly? What do you do monthly? What do you do yearly? You need to have a plan for each of these times to actually help you recharge. So this is, something that people forget. Like, we don't take breaks, or we just say, okay, today is a busy day and tomorrow I take a break, or, I wait for the weekend. And usually that doesn't happen. So
do you know that I was going to do so much work after this interview, but I'm thinking about changing that now. So yes, go ahead. And tell us about the kind, when you talk about the importance of recharging, and it absolutely is vital, what kind of things to do to recharge?
So that will depend on what you like and what you know recharges you. So for me, for instance, I know that if I take a full hour of lunch break, that's already helping. If I go for a walk for half an hour per day, that's also helping. If I do a bit of personal development, it makes me feel good, makes me feel that I'm moving forward and growing myself. That gives me a sense of emotional energy. So I'm also recharged. I had clients who like to actually have a chat with a friend that they're really good friend with, and they say, okay, every night I call her and we debrief the day, and she can go back and finish the day quiet because she's debriefed what happened and got some feedback from her friend as well, and that's the recharge activity. So anything that you really feel afterwards is putting back fuel into you. It's not about like, oh, I'm just going to crash on the sofa and watch TV for 2 hours. Because if you get there, it means that your body is really, really tired and you've not listened earlier or recharged earlier. So it depends. Some people like cooking and put some music and they find it recharging. So they get back some brain space and some positive emotions. So it's a bit about everybody finding their own habits there, because that's the best way. If the habit is yours and it works, then it will stick better than anything else I can tell you to do. So yeah.
Also, I love cooking, but then I have to eat it. That's the thing. So the next one was raising necessity. What does that mean?
So raising necessity is really finding the right level of motivation, basically applying to yourself the right level of pressure that you feel, okay, I still need to go, I still need to, there is a goal I want to achieve and there is something exciting for me, but not in a way that is too stressful, so where you are really putting a lot of pressure on yourself. And also, you also don't want to put too low pressure, because otherwise it's just, I'll do it tomorrow, and then there is procrastination happening. So this, I think particularly in business, this is very important to have a look at, because when we are building business, it's never short term, in a month or so, everything is working. You need to be able to keep it on the long term. And sometimes, I was like this. When I started, I was like full motivation on, I know where I'm going, full purpose. And then it's like, things are not moving and it's not aligning yet with what I wanted to create. So you need to find ways to stay motivated.
And that's a very good point you bring up, but that sometimes we have the illusion that, oh my God, I've got this great idea and everybody wants it and it's just going to happen.
Yeah.
And one thing I really love to impress with my clients and with some of my wider circle is there's no shortage of ideas. There is none. Everyone can have. In fact, I was on a networking call this morning and somebody was asking for some support and somebody said, oh, what about this idea? What about this idea? And I'm like, yeah, that's great. They're all ideas. But if that person can't market the idea, if they can't get the message out there and earn a living from it, it doesn't matter. So the implementation is the part. So I like to call it kind of knowledge and skill, if you like. So you can find out all the information you need to actually online. You can find out these steps online. But if you don't implement them and build a skill around it, they're never, ever, ever going to work.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's and you need to stay motivated while you do that, while you do all the implementation. And
so what are the? I know you can't give all. Well, I mean, it'll take a whole other show. But what are some little tips about keeping motivated when you feel your motivation waning?
So in this area, the one I think is the best for entrepreneurs is staying connected to your goals and to the people you serve daily. So it's not just about, I think about my goals every month, or, when I'm working with a client, I think about them. It's on a daily basis. You need to really connect emotionally to what are my goals? Why are they important? What am I after? Who are the people I'm serving? Why do they need me? Why do I love them? Because you need to love your clients as well. And doing this work of emotionally recommitted to whatever you decided for your business and your clients, it's like fundamental. daily. So personally, I have like a battle board where I have like, my goals written, my clients written, and every day I'm look at it and I speak about it. And until I feel something, until I'm like, yeah, okay, today I'm excited about going and doing the work. And this I think really helps. And you need that when the days are not working, when things are going slow. If you don't have this emotional commitment that is so strong, it's very difficult to keep moving. So that would be my best tip. Do this work. Yeah.
One of the tips I shared actually in a live on Monday the other day was about an achievement diary or an achievement wall, whichever they have space for. And it's about doing up a little certificate when you've actually gained a new skill. Because sometimes we go, oh no, I can't do it. Wow, my God, this isn't working so fast. But if you stop and look and go, actually, I've built the skill of video editing. I've built the skill of going live on video. I've built the skill of whatever it is. It can make a huge difference when you're having those times that you go, oh, what am I doing? That's awesome. Thank you. So increasing positivity. Now that sounds very simple, but tell me more about that.
So increasing productivity, it's going a little bit further than just time management, because that's sometimes what we hear about productivity is just managing my time well. And it's really about making sure that you are focused absolutely on the tasks that are the one you want to contribute to, that are the one that you think are meaningful, where you're going to be the best person to do them. And also being able to create a productive life in general, which is something I really like to think about. Not just, okay, I'm going to plan my day and I'm going to, book things in there. And, it's like it becoming very like kind of boring in a way. So in productivity, one of the first things I do to help people increase their productivity is just asking them one simple question is, what does a productive day feel for you? And most people cannot answer this question. Most people initially are like, oh yeah, that's when I've ticked all the boxes on my to-do list. And it's like, I get them to think further, because you need to know what feelings you want to create. Productivity is just basically the way you experience time. So it's a feeling, it's an emotion. And if you can pinpoint, okay, this is exactly the feeling I want, then you can go and create your agenda. You can go and find the right tool to support you there, and not the other way around, where sometimes you hear people, okay, I'm going to try all these productivity hacks and this best system works the best for me. It's like, no, think first what you want to create and then go and implement that. And for different people, it's going to be different things. For me personally, it's freedom. I know it's one of the big drivers. It's if I can say, okay, it's 10 o'clock in the morning and I've already done the very big important things I wanted to do today, I will feel satisfied and free for the rest of the day. I'm still going to work, but this is going to feel like a bonus or something. I'm going to take more pleasure in that as well. And if I want to take a break and go for 2 hours works, I can do it, because I've done what I said was really, really important in the morning already. But this comes from knowing, okay, this is what I want my life to be about. I want some freedom. So how can I create freedom in my agenda? Some other people, I had a client, for instance, who was really struggling. She was for the first time leader for a team. And, she got stuck into doing a lot more administrative stuff than working with clients. She was really feeling that she was not in control. She was not yet feeling as competent as a leader as she wanted. So for her drivers was, I want more control, I want more competence, and I also want to spend more time with clients, which is where I feel my contribution is the best. So for her, it was, okay, I'm going to set up a strategy hour from 8 to 9 every day where I don't talk to anybody in my team. I say to them, 8 to 9 is just for me, doing strategy, planning the day, thinking about how I'm going to interact with them. She plans more time with her team to make sure that she was able to, slowly go into this role of leader in a better way, so that she was really feeling some progress there. And then she said, every Wednesday, the full day is for clients. I am not a leader on Wednesday. Yeah. On Wednesday, I work with clients. But this really came from her thinking, okay, what am I missing here to feel that I'm productive, that I'm engaged in my work? So that's, on one thing to do on productivity, think about what you want to create and what feelings you want to bring in your life. And that's already going to make a big, big difference for you.
It often comes down to eat the frog for breakfast, do that uncomfortable thing. There are those 3 main things, as you say. I love that idea. Get them, pump them out and get them done. And then it's like, I can take the day off if I want or if I not, because I believe as entrepreneurs, we've all come into it to have more time, money and freedom is the ultimate. And all too often, and I know you hear it too, is people just completely burning out, or people giving up on their business, on their dream, because it's too hard. And it is too hard if you can't get your message out and get people to come to you and pay you for what you've learned to do and the value that you bring. Okay, so we're on to number 5, and we're develop influence. And influence is one of my favorite topics too, because if you can't influence people and yourself, if you can't influence them that what you have is the solution to their problem, well, again, you can't make any sales.
Yeah. So this one is, as you say, is fundamental as well. It's one of the biggest frustration area I see with people. It's one of the area where there is so much complexity because you have humans in front of you, obviously. So this is an area where you need to constantly go and develop yourself and find a way to get people to believe in you, to support you, to follow you, whatever it is you want. Maybe you want them to buy from you or just collaborate with you. Sometimes it's just about that as well. And in this area, there's so much work to do. It's very difficult to come and sit in one best tips. But if I wanted to say today, something that you can do to start the conversation there is just having a very deep, honest conversation with yourself about where you are in terms of influence. Where do you see relationships right now not moving in the right directions? And it can be relationships with, maybe your family is not supporting you as you're going through the business and you would like to get their support, or maybe it's you're not able to persuade clients to buy from you. So that would be more the marketing and sales part. You need to have a very, very honest conversation and think, okay, what is missing there? What is my next level? Where do I need maybe support and training to get there? And this is fundamental. If you cannot say honestly, oh yeah, right now I'm missing persuasion and I'm not able to sell, and it's sometimes very difficult to admit. But this is the beginning of, okay, now I can go and do something about it and get the training or the coach that I need, or whatever resources out there.
Well, that's it, and it's getting the support and help with from a coach or a mentor. And it's not always about, I'd like to preface this, I was always in the resisting that sales and being pushy. It's not about that. I mean, if you have something that can help people get past or shortcut or, solve whatever problem, you actually are doing them a disservice by not letting them know. And influence is just absolutely one of the most important things. If you can't influence people, and again, I know that from corporate, I was a manager in a lot of, if I couldn't influence staff to, I was in the hospitality industry to be great staff and service people, right? Well, then, it just didn't work for anybody. So
exactly.
Awesome.
It's about serving your dreams as well, basically. And it's just a way to get to your dreams, to have more persuasion and influence. And in this area,
it's a win-win. It's a win-win when you're getting to your dreams, but you're helping somebody else get to theirs. And
in this area, you will always improve. If you just put the focus on it, you will always improve. And it's sometimes it's just about finding the different angle, different timings, different strategy to approach the conversation. You can always improve in this area. So it's worth investing sometimes.
We often can see. I love the saying is you can't read the label from inside the box. So, if we have a habit of being like that, sometimes we know something's not working, but we mightn't be able to see what we need to change. So having somebody even to ask you those key questions, so you have the space and time to just think of the answer instead of asking yourself, and it gets a bit more complicated. It's very powerful because they can hold that space for you to get deeper in the conversation. Cool. So on to number 6, demonstrate courage. I think as a business owner, we have to demonstrate courage every single day that we show up. But tell me more about this step.
Yeah, so I absolutely agree with that. I think you have to die so many times in your business. You have to let go of the past the past beliefs. You have to do so much work on yourself, on the business. And sometimes things don't work. You make mistakes. You have to forgive yourself. I think courage is really, I think it's a superpower. But I often see people not using it. So sometimes, you do like a big, bold stuff that is very, very uncomfortable. And you're like, okay, today I was courageous. But it's more about doing this on a daily basis. So on a daily basis, recognizing your own courage. What are the things that today, okay, maybe you've grown a skill today that you were not yet confident with. Maybe, you don't like to be on videos and today you did a video. You push yourself and you are like, okay, that's a win. Maybe, you realize it's not going right for you and today you just decided to ask for help. Or maybe it's just a day where you are like, I really don't want to get out of bed. I'm not excited
And
about the
got out of
business.
bed.
And I still woke up. I still did a bit of work. That can be like this type of thing that requires some courage and some, you pushing your own boundaries. It's very, very important to recognize that and to record it as well. So you were mentioning the achievement board and the certificates earlier. Do this for courage as well. Every day, ask yourself, what have I done today that was courageous, that was a bit uncomfortable? Where did I push myself? And just record that, because once you get to the real tough time where you really need to be bold and really need to push through, then you're going to be, hey, wait a second. This is my list of already things where I have already proven to myself that I'm courageous, confident, and I'm going for it. And this is the best advice. Do your list of courage wins every day. And keep thinking about that.
Yeah, I'm just, as I'm looking at the 6 tips, I'm kind of going, you know what? You could actually do out just a list of 6 to 8 questions for each one of those. Just one question for each one. Like, where was I courageous today? Where did I bring my influence today? And celebrating the things that you've done. I think that they, how clear am I on what now from today that I want to feel tomorrow?
Exactly. You can use as a measurement and see how it goes. Every day you will see where you are in a different area, but it's just to keep awareness. Yeah, absolutely.
For me, it's been the very best person I can be, and the only person I have to compete against is myself. Am I a little bit better than I was yesterday? May not be perfect all the time, but all of this comparinitis, is that what it is?
Yes.
Where we're comparing ourselves to everybody all over social media and everything. And it's just not real. It just isn't. And yet people get so caught up with it. They did a course when I did it. I used to do it myself. They did a course when I did it. They seem to be going so well. What's wrong with me? Why am I not doing it? Because you have a different set of circumstances with it. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing those tips with us. And I know that they will be of benefit to the people that watch it. So if anyone wanted to get in contact with you, the best way, I believe, is on LinkedIn. So I'm going to pop up your LinkedIn details there. So if people have got in contact with you on LinkedIn, what could they expect?
They can expect me posting every day some inspirational content around high performance. So if they liked what they heard today, then you're going to get more. And it's also possible if you want to book a free session with me and just have a chat around high performance and get already a coaching session with me. Basically, you can also see the link on LinkedIn to set that up. So just having continue this conversation that we just had, but if they want to see how it fits for them personally, we can do that.
Because it's very individual for different people, isn't it? Different people have different goals they want. Like I just said, you can't compare yourself to anyone else. Somebody has different goals, different wants and needs. So for now, I am going to say goodbye to Chloe because I can't say her name properly again. It's a beautiful name. I should be ashamed. And I would like to thank you so much for joining us and sharing with us your wisdom. It's been really amazing to have you here.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
That's awesome. So guys, again, if you're watching this on social media, please make sure you ask myself or Chloe any question that we can help you with. Hop on over and connect with Chloe on LinkedIn as well. And if you're watching this on YouTube, again, pop in your questions, but make sure you hit that subscribe and that little bell so you will get alerted when we have any more of these videos and or tips to help you with your marketing and keeping your head on straight while you're doing it. So for now, guys, it's a bye for me.